Speak to Hani Mahmoud. He joins us live now from Rafah in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. Hani, beyond this assassination, we know that strikes too have been continuing across the Strip. What have they been targeting?
Yes, what we're looking at is more of an intense Israeli air attacks across the Gaza Strip. But just since the midnight at about 12 o'clock, we're looking at more intensified attacks, including the artillery shelling and the gunboats from the western part of the central area, only concentrated on the Nuseirat refugee camp. That's the northern part of the central part of the Gaza Strip, where the Israeli military described it was conducting a limited operation, including a limited incursion of the territories coming all the way from the area of Wadi Gaza. That's at the entrance of a Nuseirat refugee camp. More of the residential buildings have been targeted and destroyed, including other public facilities, as well as an evacuation center. That's a school managed and operated by UNRWA, where hundreds of displaced Palestinians have been sheltering inside. The school reports at least of a couple of the displaced people who were inside were killed, in addition to the people at the residential areas at the vicinity of the northern part of the evacuation center, and the other buildings that were targeted, including public facilities. We're looking at 5 people have been killed with several injuries, all transferred to an already exhausted medical facilities in Deir city. That's Al-Aqsa hospital. The attacks, or the intensity of attacks, happened just within hours after the assassination of the children and grandchildren of Hamas political leader Ismail Hani in a shot at refugee camp. That's the Beach refugee camp in the northern western part of Gaza City. Only when people were expecting a let up in the attacks across the Gaza Strip, because it's these days mark Eid days for people here. We're only seeing the contrary of what's going on, only an intense bombing campaign that is still continuing to happen across the Strip.
And Hani, you're in Rafah. Amid all of that, we have seen what looks like a scaling up of aid trucks crossing the border there over the last few days. What sort of impact has that had?
Right. Well, despite the increase in the number of aid trucks entering the Gaza within the past 3 days, there isn't really much of a significant change on the ground or impact that has caused. People are still struggling with famine in the northern part and Gaza, particularly after the continuous failure of the Israeli military to allow more smooth and more efficient of delivery of aid from the northern part. Mainly, we're talking about air crossings that the Israeli military announced it was going to open, as well as the port in Ashdod to let more trucks. But according to a statement by UNICEF, since this announcement by the Israeli Prime Minister and the military, none of the trucks have been allowed to cross areas crossing to the northern part and Gaza City. What people are relying on solely right now is parts of the 80 trucks that have been allowed through Rafah crossings. That's from the Egyptian side, and some of them made their way to the northern part and Gaza City. Overall, the number of trucks and the amount of humanitarian aid are not nearly enough to respond to the greater needs that people are facing right now in terms of the extreme shortage of medical supplies and food supplies and other survival items much needed right now, particularly with the spread of famine in the northern part and Gaza City and the extreme shortage. And there are actually signs of starvation has started to be quite visible across overcrowded southern part of the Strip.
Hani Mahmoud there with the very latest for us from the ground in Rafah. Thank you so much, Hani.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.